It's time to get sexy, so watch Secular Sexuality Live Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTSS and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callsex.
Greetings and kapla, fellow humans. Welcome back to another episode of The Nonprofits, the show where we discuss news and topics of the day from a skeptical humanist perspective. My name is Cynthia McDonald, and today joining me to my far left, Malty. How are you?
Hello. Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. Next up, we have Kelley. How are you?
I am always amazing. Thank you, Cynthia.
Very good. And the cutest cartoon in all the land, Teo. How are you?
Hi, Cynthia. You always make me blush. I'm fine, thanks. Thank you so much.
I love how you have those things on demand, Teo. That's great. Well, well, this show is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the separation of religion and government and promoting positive atheism. Now, we all have some topics to talk about today, guys. Today, we're going to talk about Pope Frankie's cosplay plus, and it gained strong reactions. We're also going to talk about a prosperity pastor that gets plucked. And then a Watchman decree is a new canon for Christofacists. And finally, the close encounters of the furry kind. And as with all of our shows, links to today's topics and news we discuss are available in the description below. And a reminder that if you want to come into the show prepared, you can check out the Nonprofits fan page on Facebook every Friday night for a list of articles ahead of time. All right. Now, before we go into segment one, the nonprofits would like to acknowledge the passing of an icon of stage, television, and silver screen, a trailblazer, civil rights and social rights activist, and a philanthropist, Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle was not only an icon, but also an inspiration to her community and, dare I say, to the world. She was born in Robbins, Illinois in 1932, established a stellar career as a singer, dancer, and actress, also sang for the Duke Ellington Orchestra. And Nichelle also collaborated with NASA from 1977 to 2015 to increase its reach to recruit minorities and women to the space program. Soon after, Guy Bluford, the first Black American in space, and Sally Ride, the first American woman in space, were appointed to NASA's astronaut class of 1978. She was also a trusted associate of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Nichelle became an inspiration to millions of people along with Malcolm X. We pay homage to the first Lieutenant Nyota Uhura, Swahili for freedom, after reading a few of her own words. After my tour of duty on the original series, I ended up and was invited to become a spokesperson for NASA. When I helped recruit and inspire a new generation of fearless astronauts, young men and women with strong beliefs in themselves, in their potential, and in the future of learning and achievement for all humanity, and motivating them as others once did me, it's as if my life had come back full circle to where the dreams of a young woman began. We will miss you, Miss Nichols. So let's go ahead and move on into segment one, which is a Pope Watch, and that's all on you, Teo.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. And I feel kind of sad that we have to talk about a POS like the Pope after such wonderful person. But here I am talking about the holy cant again. You know, the same POS who said that victims of child abuse were slandering his bishops, and who's in charge of the biggest criminal mafia in the world, who is aware of the most hideous crimes by the Catholic Church and now is trying to wash the image of the church, which, by the way, has recently been accused of abuses and holding women's lives by at least 43 South American workers who got held slaves at several Opus Dei installations in Argentina, Paraguay, and Bolivia. Why am I talking about this awful person? Because he is considered a holy saint practically in our world. And he's now in Canada. He went to Canada, a place that I'm sure you remember as this place where the Catholic Church buried over 6,000 children, Native American children, who got tortured, who died under the care of the Catholic institutions. And now the Pope is over there, kind of asking for forgiveness. But this became a disgusting show for me. Why is this so disgusting? Well, if you check the article, you will see how they are putting this thing with feathers, this kind of crown with feathers on the head of the Pope. And that is a symbol it's a headdress, and they have been historically a symbol of respect, worn only by Native American war chiefs and by warriors. And for many of them, many of the Native American tribes, it has a huge significance because it has to be earned through an act of compassion or bravery. And there is nothing compassionate or brave about somebody saying, oh yeah, we kill and murder your children, are bad, this is so terrible. And even worse, Hollywood has turned this symbol into a joke during the time, and a Halloween costume, which has been considered an insult by many people from Native American tribes. And they are just turning into something that you give it to somebody who doesn't deserve it. And that is really an insult, because people who get this, they are supposed to be considered amazing people, and they have to be recognized by the people. And some representatives of Native American tribes, they complain that this is a sin which is described as pageantry, and that the statements Pope of we are sorry, it's facile, because I want to quote somebody. His name is Bruce Diabo, and he says, the Catholic Church and Canada are collaborating in creating a mythology for a shared reconciliation agenda, narrated by prominent federal collaborators and residential school survivors. And finally, I want to say it's very sad that school survivors, those children who were tortured and indoctrinated in the Catholic Church, now pay respect to somebody who is representing the institution that tortured them and murdered several of their classmates at the schools where they were buried. So this has me very angry, very upset, and I want to know what you think, because the Pope makes me very, very angry, and I don't want to talk too ill about this awful, disgusting guy. And yeah, it makes me sad. It makes me very angry. That's my point.
And
Yes.
rightfully so.
It should make you angry. It makes us all angry. But let's go ahead and just get some thoughts about this particular article. Malty, you had some interesting things that you found about this particular story. Could you share it with us, please?
Sure. I was able to find a short interview that Chief Wilton Littlechild gave to a Native American journalist to describing why he gave the headdress to the Pope. And we could put a link in the show notes for that if you want to watch it. It's just a few minutes long. And what Chief Littlechild said was giving headdresses to dignitaries or statesmen is a proper way of showing respect to a person of high standing. So he was saying that there was precedent, and when his family, so I'm not quite sure who he meant by that, was appropriate to give that gift to the pontifex, however you pronounce his name. but when I look at it, and I see what Chief Littlechild was trying to express, I think it fell a lot on deaf ears to the greater indigenous population, maybe to younger indigenous people, because um, the responses that I saw to that posting were a bit aggressive. Let me quote here from this is Twitter, um, but this one person, Mark, says some people receive such gifts that recognize their lifelong work in our communities. Many Native peoples believe that the Pope has done nothing to receive such an honor. Perhaps gifting the Pope with Native art or a Pendleton blanket would have been more appropriate. Which wasn't that like the ones that were covered with smallpox, the blankets?
That is exactly what that is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, digs like that. Definitely people have do not see the Pope as a person that deserves respect. Than in what I was reading here.
Yeah. I
I
gathered that
totally
as
understand and share the
well.
feeling.
Yeah, I gathered that as well when I was reading the articles, that you did have mixed emotions coming from the crowd when they saw him being bestowed this honor. It was definitely an honor, but I'm going to save some of my commentary. Kelley, can you please chime on in? What were your thoughts when you read this particular article?
Yeah, sure. I kind of saw the headdress sort of as an acceptance of the Pope's peace offering, sort of like a way to heal the past. And it made me wonder if the Pope had given the chief one of his miters or his zucchettos, would that have caused such a stir? Would that have made everybody get so upset? And I don't think that it would have. And it actually got me to wondering if the Pope had more than one mitre. He's got to have more than one mitre, right? But
Pretty sure he
the
has a
fact
minor in like every
that the chief,
country.
yeah, right, yeah,
That,
he's got one waiting for him everywhere he goes.
exactly.
But
Got it.
also the fact that the chief and many of the attending tribal members had been in these religious schools, actually experiencing them, says to me that they generally wanted to bury the hatchet. That this was something that at least the leaders of the tribe wanted to do. Now, in any group of people, you're going to get members who aren't going to agree with the leaders, right? Let's go, Brandon, right? So I have to ask myself, what's more important? Is it accepting this, accepting that the apology for these past atrocities and trying to make a better future with that apology, or arguing about compensation? And I can totally see both sides of that argument. I could totally see both sides. And we all know that the church will pay up, but all you got to do is take them to court, right? So I don't know how the court system is in Canada, but I think if some of these tribal members really wanted compensation, they ought to go and follow it through legal matters. So I'm really torn on this subject completely. The one thing I do want to say, though, this is not just a Canadian thing. The USA
Hmm.
had state-sponsored schools doing the exact same thing, and we're
That
just
is
now
correct.
starting to talk about it. My big
Yeah.
hope is that when we see what came out of this meeting, is that we can start looking at ourselves here in the United States and realizing that what we did, not through a church, but through our own United States government.
I believe
Yeah.
there is. We reported on this on the nonprofits a while back that
Mm-hmm.
We did.
the
We
Biden
did.
administration has added someone to his cabinet to actually look into this. Is that correct? If I
Mm-hmm.
remember right?
Right.
Yes,
Well,
that
yeah,
is
like I
correct.
said, this
That is
conversation
correct.
is just starting here in the United States, and I'm glad to see it. I, for one,
Yeah.
am really glad to see it. So,
So
Um,
go
another
ahead.
thing that we report, another thing that we did report on was a talk about compensation to survivors of these schools in Canada. It's just that the funds were being held up for arbitrary reasons. And I I don't know, guys. I have mixed emotions about this as well. Um, I get the reason why Chief Wilton Littlechild bestowed this particular honor onto the pontiff. I think that's what you were trying to say, Malty. However, I felt that the apology to Indigenous children and to Indigenous people for basically taking their children away from the families to indoctrinate them in Western culture and Christianity, torturing them while they do it was empty. It feels the same way how the sexual abuse cases and acknowledgement of sexual abuse of children from the Catholic Church, that apology is a dollar short and a day late. And still having to try to make people whole and not even working in a proper way with authorities to make sure that the people who even committed said atrocities are even brought to justice. And it it baffles me that this is still, I don't know, a sorry for 2004 type tour that Pope Frankie's on, yet there is nothing of substance, in my opinion, when we're actually talking about making people whole, redressing the wrongs that have been done for years. I mean, these particular state-sponsored schools, because the government was also in cahoots with the Catholic Church when it came to setting up these particular schools. And I I would think that the government of Canada and even, in the United States, I know the United States at least has a Bureau of Indian Affairs, and there are different packages for Native Americans per se, as far as like, trying to make do trying to make right on some contracts and things of that nature that the government defaulted on. So there at least is that, but there is still a needed action. I want to say past conversation, because it's known about what has happened. It's known about the torture that these children went through. It is known about the atrocities that these particular schools wrought on the residents. And
Mhm.
it's now time to get past that, to talk about what does it mean to repair? What does it mean to make these people whole? What does it mean to actually bring about some form of closure? Even though you will never be able to completely wipe the, for lack of a better term, sin committed against these people, but damn, try.
Yeah, you remind me that the Canadian Relations Minister Mark Miller made some pretty scathing remarks about the gaps that Francis's apology um, had in it. He said that they could not be ignored. That echoing criticism from some school survivors, Miller noted that Francis did not mention sexual abuse in his list of abuses, nor that endured by these children. He only listed physical, verbal, psychological, spiritual abuse.
Hmm.
Miller also stated that Pope Francis spoke of evil committed by individual Christians, but not the Catholic Church as an institution. So those are two very large omissions, to what he said in his apology. Um, to go on a pilgrimage of penance, of penance, you know,
Penance, yes.
seems to be that it's like he's looking at all of Canada as his confessional, and it's one and done. You say his Hail Marys and let's move on. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't.
I just want to say that the words of the Pope, they seem empty because they are absolutely empty. This guy is saying, "Oh yeah, we are totally ashamed of this. And then they go and do absolutely nothing to repair the damage done to the community, to the victims, to help those victims, even to help find more corpses, because we know there must be still thousands of corpses buried that the church just erased the graveyard so people wouldn't find them, and those families still cannot find their children. And the Pope did absolutely nothing but say, oh, sorry, some of our people are evil, and that is the worst and most bullshitest excuse ever. And I just want to mention once again about the gift given to them, because the gift in several of the tribes means that they have adopted the Pope as one of the leaders of the community.
Right.
Imagine giving the biggest honor of your representatives and turning him into a leader only because he's saying, oh yeah, sorry we murdered your children, so sorry. It's freaking fucking disgusting. And as usual, the Catholic Church and his representative, the Pope, they are being disgusting. Yeah, sorry, Cynthia.
Yeah, no. You're right. It's quite disgusting, and I know I personally get triggered by tokenism, and this is kind of what I see here.
Mhm.
It just reminds me, like, as you just said, Teo, just taking like one of the biggest honors of your particular culture and bestowing it on the representative of a murderer of some of your loved ones. And it kind of reminded me a little bit of 45's Charlottesville speech when he said, "There's good people on both sides," and it means that there is very little accountability and responsibility that's being had or taken place by the Catholic Church when it comes to these particular atrocities. I uh it's more like, hey, I'm sorry, but you need to stop talking about that now. A matter of fact, I think that one of the people who actually saw the Pope's sorry penance tour said that if you want to help us heal, stop telling us to get over it. We can't get over it when intergenerational trauma impacts every youth and every member and every family who had a residential school survivor. Instead of getting over it, I'm asking you to get with it, get with learning about our history, get with learning about our culture, our people, who we are. That was Chief Desmond Bull of Lewis Bull Tribe who said that during a news conference. And I feel you, Chief Desmond, because it's not enough to just say that I'm sorry. Yeah, we had like some bad people who did some bad things, and we cool, right? No, no, we're not cool. Because the main issue right here is that not you just didn't have bad people doing it. Your institution was complicit because it didn't take the right steps to stop it. It went on for years. These particular residential schools with the tortures and the people who survived them was going on from the turn of the century up into the 1970s. Just think about that for a moment. That's a long time.
A long time.
A very long time.
Is it really surprising that they didn't mention sexual abuse in the apology? I mean, is that really surprising from the Catholic Church?
No.
And how do you compensate for for completely killing somebody's culture? And that's what happened here. I mean, it wasn't just that they abused all these children, but they literally killed a culture. They made a nation of people not a nation of people anymore. And that to me was one of the biggest crimes that we haven't really talked about, because that to me was the worst part of what happened. That entire nation was destroyed.
I've got two suggestions.
Please.
Prosecute those that can be prosecuted for it, and reparations for those that are survivors. And
I
they're
totally agree.
working on some.
Hmm.
The prosecution, I think we're still working towards.
Yeah,
That celebration had to be the moment to ask them to do stuff, not to give him an honor that doesn't deserve.
I agree. I definitely agree. Let's fix this, Catholic Church. Stop just going around just apologizing for things that you do and actually put some action to your words. And that's all we got to say about that. Is that all right with everybody? Well, it's not all right. It's not all right, but I'm just saying. Oh my gosh, this makes me just so mad. It just makes me just so bad that this again. We talk about this type of stuff a lot here at the nonprofits, and it just seems like that they just keep getting away with the same bullshit over and over again. I it grinds my gears. Moving on. Before we go on to our next segment, guys, we just want to thank you to our veteran and and new viewers. See, I got so mad that I can't even talk. I can't even talk right now. But thank you to our veteran and our new viewers for getting us over 11,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. So if you are watching us now and haven't subscribed yet, get on that. And once you subscribe, like, and ring that bell so you always know when a new nonprofit's content drops. And we also premiere every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central, but you knew that already. You knew that. And then, if you would please, share the link to our channel with your friends, your family members, your coworkers, the neighbor guy that you like and you don't like, and anyone and everyone else. Let's get the word out there so that we can start helping with fundraisers. And are you aware that the atheist community of Austin has another YouTube channel? Are you? Well, you should be. So check out the Atheist Experience Network, a channel where you can find all ACA shows in podcast form. Subscribe at tiny.cc/AEN podcast to listen to episodes of the nonprofits, the flagship show of the ACA, the Atheist Experience, Secular Sexuality, Truth Wanted, and all of our other ACA shows that we don't necessarily air anymore, but they're still available in archives. So you don't miss a single episode. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our next segment, which is everybody. I think that we should get some sunglasses because it's going to be a lot of bling coming our way. And Malty, I believe you're going to take us in.
On a shit internet apologist say? I think so. So this is Lamore Whitehead, Bishop Lamore Miller Whitehead we're talking about. This guy has had an interesting run. So where we started this off was the pastor, during a sermon that was on YouTube, taken down now, was robbed at gunpoint of what he is claiming to be about $1 million worth of jewelry off of himself and his wife, who was on the stage as well. This is kind of compounds in that this bishop, has had run-ins with the law in the past, in that he in 2006 he was convicted of larceny with some real estate, $2 million, stole some money, stole some identities, went to Sing Sing for 5 years. Then he got out in 2013, started this church and his ministry, and a failed real estate program, which we'll get into a little bit later. Then just a few weeks ago, he stated that he was going to help bring in a suspect of a murder, a subway murder, and kind of was saying that he's a real good friend of the mayor or president of Brooklyn. And also, yes, he
Yes.
wants. Say again.
Oh no, it was the mayor of Brooklyn he was friends
Mayor of
with.
Brooklyn, right? Oh, right. He had a failed attempt to become the president of the Brooklyn boroughs. That's
Yes.
right. That was in 2020. There's a lawsuit about that as well, but I kind of getting ahead of myself. This goes all over the place, people. So let's start sharing around with the panel.
Yeah, let's. Hey, Kelley, what you got to say about Bishop Bling Bling?
The first thing that occurred to me was like, who made this guy a bishop? I mean, seriously, did he just bestow that
Himself.
title on himself?
He did.
Yeah, right.
did.
He just
made
got
himself
this
that.
idea. I'm going to pretend like I believe in God. I'll make myself a bishop, and then God will bestow upon me all the riches of the poor around me that I would like to steal, because that's what I see going on here. The guy was a complete grifter. He's had a whole history of grifting, and he's grifting on the very people that need their money the most. This guy is the lowest. I mean, we thought the Pope was bad for not apologizing. This guy's 10 times worse. He's literally going out there still terrorizing by the poor people by stealing their money and using it to buy $1 million worth of jewelry. And the thing that got me was after the press said something where he came out and he was like, hey, it's my money. I have the right to spend it however I want. I work hard for that money. And I can't see how he was working hard for that at all in any way whatsoever. So,
Kelley, it's a hard job grifting people. Okay, that's a hard job.
In Spanish, we have this saying that is ladrón que roba ladrón tiene 100 años de perdón, which translates as a thief who steals from a thief is pardoned for 100 years. And usually I wouldn't really celebrate somebody who somebody who has worked hard and is an honest person and who get robbed. But I don't see any hard-working, honest person being robbed in here. As you mentioned, this guy has been in jail before for stealing from people. He keeps doing that. He's now deceiving people. Okay, maybe you can say that they are voluntarily giving him his money so he can buy jewels. But, when there is a guy who is carrying $1 million in jewels inside his car, you know that he's not doing anything honest, really. And I guess for me, the only problem and the only sad thing is that a little child got traumatized because the robbers pointed a gun to his infant's daughter. And that is my only problem and the sad part about this. Go and watch the video. The guy just goes into the floor. He doesn't try to reason with the guys. He doesn't try to stop them from, or even saying, okay, I'm a holy person. Everybody calm down. No, he just goes into the floor, protecting himself, and he doesn't care about his family or anybody around. So, really, really sad in here.
Yeah, he just dropped to the ground and said, all right. That's what he did. He said, all right, and then dropped to the ground while he was still on the pulpit, in the pulpit area, rather. But Kelley, what were you going to say?
Yeah, he was totally convinced he was getting no help from God at that moment. That you could tell by the look on his face. And you have to wonder if he really thought that maybe this was God's wrath coming back at him for all of his sins, crimes that he committed, right? Because that's what if I believed in God, I would say this was actually God's punishment to him. So it's probably not a nice thing to say, but I really hope this guy's mind was full of the fear of God's wrath while this was happening.
Man, didn't you hear his wife?
Scripture? He the robber got him and his wife and combined was $1 million worth of jewelry.
Right.
But I believe that there is a scripture, saying, as a man soweth, he reaps. Am I right? Something like that.
I was going to go with give up all your earthly goods, give to the poor,
And come follow me.
and then come follow me. But you know,
Yes. Yes.
Oh, come on. Follow that guy
yeah.
called Jesus? What do you think? He's a Christian?
I hope he's more concerned with the lawsuit that has been filed against him by one of his parishioners, who states
Yes.
that that she had given him, or not given him, excuse me. Well, depends on who you ask. That $90,000, almost her entire life savings, Whitehead supposedly was going to be able to help her with his real estate business purchase a home, even though she has poor credit. Whitehead, as stated, we have some Twitter or emails here showing that conversation between the nephew of the plaintiff and Whitehead, saying, if there is no contract, then it's a donation. And he said he used that money for his bid for Brooklyn borough president, which he lost that bid. There's also some other things about, in the real estate arena. Supposedly he was going to buy with his business, half a block apartment building, which never went through. And then there's court papers showing that he owns property in Saddle River, New Jersey. A different New Jersey property, Paramus, New Jersey, $1.6 million that he purchased in 2019. The city reported that they went over and looked at the property, and there is a default notice on the door saying that he hasn't paid on his mortgage for at least since June 1st. So I don't know. I mean, if I
should have been buying all that goddamn jewelry.
Yeah. How do you?
I was just going to say that.
Mortgage.
I was just going to say that.
I mean, I just hope it was insured.
well, so check this out. So let's revisit these failed complex real estate deals that he was supposedly doing with this $90,000. So now the Saddle River deal was supposed to be $4.4 million for himself. That's what the suit alleges, but that fell through. Also, according to the lawsuit, he was supposed to pay her $100 per month back for the down payment that he was going to help her with for her home.
Living expenses, yeah.
Living, right. And he only made one payment. And she asked about the status of her home in the following months, and he repeatedly told her that he was tied up with his election campaign for Brooklyn borough president, according to the lawsuit. And you mentioned emails and the text messages that was actually submitted in evidence to the lawsuit that alleged that Whitehead told Anderson, and Anderson is actually the person that's in the process of suing him, Elaine Anderson, I believe her name is. And for the record, anything that was given to me is a donation, like you said, if it's not, unless it's attached to a contract. He said this, quote, "I was making investments. That's what I do." Insert my RBF face right here. Just like, hold on, let me see if I can do it. I know you can't see it on podcast, but I'm about to do a RBF face. Panel, continue.
Okay. So this gentleman is just incredible.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Another Spanish saying.
Yes.
Which is, después de la guerra, todos son generales, meaning after the war, everybody's a general, which is just this idea that After things happened, everyone talks about how they knew exactly what was happening or how they could have done the best of a situation if they had had the spotlight, so they could have saved the day. Because his wife, which I wanted to mention, Miller Whitehead, she said that she felt a demonic force. Like, these guys are so used to deceiving people and blaming the demon about everything that, oh no, yeah, there was totally a demon force and it was the demon stealing our money. So I guess they are not going to, pursue the robbers if it was the devil. It was Satan the one stealing, right?
Wait. Just wait a damn minute. If you are so full of the Holy Spirit and you feel a demonic force entering into your building, where is your fucking power to expel said demon so you didn't get robbed? Bishop and co-pastor.
How logic works, right?
Yeah, he knew he didn't have that. That's why he was down on the ground cowering.
Wait. That's
Maybe he has the power? I
really
no power. He just cowered. No power.
It's terrible.
Just coward.
It's terrible that I want it to be that. I just can't see it. I just have to think that there's some cahoots going on here. I have no reason to feel that there's any cahoots, but they're it smells of cahoots.
Malty, and you know what? Now that you mention it, I smell cahoots too. And you do have a reason of why you smell it. Because this person has a history of fraud, larceny, and identity theft.
That's true.
I mean, and is also in a lawsuit for fraud. Okay?
I think 2,
and
actually.
He has 2.
I found another one, yeah.
I mean, like, listen, I can't say this in Spanish, but, Teo, maybe you can help me out. Where there is smoke, there is fire. You want to translate that real quick, Teo?
Oh, yeah, we have something similar with rivers. Si el río suena es porque piedras trae. When the river makes a sound, it's because it has stones. Same idea.
See, these ideas are shared. So I don't know. I mean, like, okay. Now, one of the things that he was also blaming the press for doing when he did that whole, I'm going to, negotiate the subway murderer to come out and give himself up thing. I personally feel that was a stunt because I believe that was happening while he was running. But he was saying that the press was calling him the bling bling pastor and because like all this stuff was written about him and him being flashy and whatnot, that was what made him a target. And he feels now that pastors should also be licensed with pistols. But the thing about it is the press didn't have to big up him as my maternal half would say from Jamaica. You didn't have to big up him right now. Okay. He did it himself. If you go to his Instagram, which I decided to do because why not? I was going through some of his posts, and at first, like the article actually mentioned, one of the articles mentioned about him being in flashy cars and things of that nature on his Instagram. And at first I was like, wait, hold on. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you can actually see him coming out of one of his luxury cars when he starts to do an advertisement on his real estate class that you can take so that you can learn how to purchase property low, flip them, and turn them into profit. He had this and he had more than one Instagram post like this. One of them, he was coming out of some type of white vehicle luxury car that was something that I can't pronounce. And then another time he was coming out of his Rolls Royce SUV with the backward door.
$350,000 Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
We haven't
yeah.
even
My
talked
house.
about the clothes yet, have we?
Oh no, we haven't. Like what did we all say that he has an affinity for Fendi, right?
Yeah, he likes Fendi. I went to their
does.
website. They had a $4,000 handbag
Mm-hmm.
for men.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And for women.
Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
$4,000.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's about time for us to wrap this up. So I'm going to start with, let's go Teo, Kelley, and then Malty. So Teo, you go first because I'm speechless.
I don't make me laugh. I can only say it's so sad that people still believe these type of scammers who are obviously taking advantage of people. And now he got we call a spoon of their own medicine. I don't know if you use the same, but yeah. Obtuvo una cucharada de su propia medicina, and I would say he deserves it. Yeah, I could never agree with thieves and criminals, but hey, criminals attacking criminals, who cares? Also, so ironic, he was held and robbed with guns, so now he wants to have a gun. So stupid.
Oh yeah, the Brooklyn mayor gave an emphatic no on that. As soon as he heard it, he went to the press and said no.
No.
You know, I always like to look at people in the best light, and it didn't even occur to me that he would be in cahoots with the robbers. But then after you said that, wasn't the amount of jewelry estimated at $450,000 the first day, and then the next day it went up to $1 million? And that seems pretty suspicious in and of itself. Oh, it was reported 450,000, but it was really $1 million worth of jewelry that I had.
After we looked again, there was a brooch missing. Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Hey,
Grifter's got a grift.
Put a nice bow.
I'm
put a nice
done.
bow on all this.
I'm done with this guy. Cahoots.
Cahoots. That's the bow. Cahoots, people. And I do have one more thing to say. I don't condone anybody getting robbed. I don't. I don't think it's a cool thing to happen at all. But I mean, shit, Bishop. You brought this on yourself. Just saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yourself. Just saying. Whew. Okay, y'all. Let's take a break. You ready to take a break? Good. So, we're going to break in our conversation, guys. And if you didn't tune in to the other ACA shows last week, here's what you missed.
Would you go to your mother and say, "Hey mum, do you have a penis in your panties?" Because if the answer is no, then why would you ask somebody that you're on a date that question?
Nicely in my bedroom, but it doesn't mean that I think they're going to do anything special for me.
I'm not going to be able to recharge my crystal in the moonlight and then put it in my water and expect like something to happen.
Richard, I think you've been watching the Pope lately.
I have indeed been watching the Pope. I'm like, God, I sneak under his bed covers every night and just have a quick peek.
Please like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, it means so much to us if you do, and comment as well. Start a fight in the comments. I don't know, make something controversial. Say pineapple is good on pizza, and I'll back you up on that.
I mean, they're gonna end up being queer people everywhere. We're making more every single day, and so it's inevitable that not everybody can run away from the thing that they want to run away from.
And we are back. And speaking of missing things, no, we didn't speak of anything that was missing, but it's in my script. Speaking of missing things, we would be remiss if we didn't tell you that you should not miss our Sunday live shows, returning to the Free Thought Library. Yes, you heard it right. The last Sunday of every month, Talk Heathen and the Atheist Experience will be in front of a live studio audience. We did it on July 31st, and it was a blast. Our next live shows will be on August 28th. So start planning now to get the whole family into the station wagon to schlep on to Austin, Texas, to meet and greet your fellow non-believers. Show host, and we have it in good authority that student Dr. Ben and Johnny P are also going to be there, and the people who make the magic possible, the crew. There might even be a cat involved. We'll see. Not even alluding to our last segment. But let's go ahead and go to the next segment, if we are all ready, with shit Internet Apologists Say.
Shit Internet Apologists Say.
I think you're muted, Malty.
All right, Watchman decree. It's a new canon for Christofascists. Cynthia, what do you think about this? It's a we're talking about I don't know, that this stuff really scares me. Flashpoint
It
Live.
should.
Yeah.
It should. It should scare you, Malty, because it scares me too. But basically, towards the beginning of July, Flashpoint USA Live did a decree where they were making some pretty hard point statements about being able to take back our nation for God. This particular story comes from Hemet Mehta, friend of the show, from Only Sky Media, which was posted on July 15th, 2020, and also another article by Mark Freund, I think it's Freundfelder, on July 14th, 2022, with Kenneth Copeland's Christofacists Watchman decree is straight out of The Handmaid's Tale. So basically, according to Hemet's article, after explaining how conservative Christians are God's governing body on the earth and have legal power from heaven to destroy every attempted advance of the enemy, they declare the following. And I'm just going to read a few, and then we're going to open it up. We decree that America's executive branch of government will honor God and defend the Constitution. We decree that our judicial system will issue rulings that are biblical and constitutional. And this is one of my favorites. We declare that we stand against wokeness, the occult, and every evil attempt against our nation. It's kind of crazy that they stand against wokeness. But and I know that wokeness is a loaded word, but they stand against it. They stand against it actually taking over the nation, guys. So they said some other things that I would say, if I can decree, are some really scary things that we really need to watch out for. But I am curious to say what you guys think.
Well, I can say that when I went to Flashpoint Live's parent website and found out that the Victory Channel, that's what this was coming from, that this is a Kenneth Copeland production, I made kind of more sense and became even more scary. I look at what they're saying right on their landing page, and the dog whistles are just so loud. Never before, under the common cause of love for country, for our God, taking a stand for our nation. And yeah, it is the things that they have been promoting in this tour, because this is the Flashpoint don't they just move from location to location and have a revival meeting that they would then put on, and then it's like it's an upscaled tent revival.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. That that tour, it's kind of like the Pope does like a tour of his sorry tour, right? Sorry for, fucking up you all in those really bad schools. And then, you got this particular group of Christian nationalist pastors that's taking themselves to these different cities and what have you to put on these tent meetings so that they can declare their decree against wokeness. I was even trying to remember, there was a scripture that I believe that they were coming from about the Watchman, being on the tower, making sure that that the enemy does not come nigh the city. I vaguely remember that particular scripture. Next time I'm actually going to be prepared with it. But this to me is them doubling and tripling down on making sure that they are helping to influence law to turn the United States into a theocracy. What do you think, Teo? I think you're muted too.
Maybe
yeah,
we'll
you're
go
still
to
muted.
Kelly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow.
I was
wow,
muted.
Teo.
Okay, and yeah.
There you go.
Sorry,
Go ahead,
yeah. Thank you. Okay, I want to quote Alan Moore, 1987, who watches The Watchmen, because he created this comic. Read the comic, don't watch the movie. The comic is way better. And in here, they explain about how putting some people in charge of the society is extremely dangerous. How vigilantes everything can go wrong with them if you don't have somebody who is actually, when people are just doing whatever they feel is better without taking into account the security of other people and sacrificing people just to achieve their goal. And as you mentioned, this thing about the Watchmen, these people who are watching the enemies, who are the enemies? Most likely all this paneling here, people like us, people who dare to think, who dare to ask for equality, because check the article, the Watchmen in their case are, let me quote, people who pledge to watch over the nation and make sure it's run according to conservative Christian principles. Christian principles, the ones taken from this holy book that says that you can own people and beat them to death, and women are inferior and they have no rights, and you can kill people like me who don't believe in their God and stuff like that. So extremely, extremely dangerous. I have said this before, but I'm extremely worried about the USA because we have seen this type of people getting to power over and over again. They want to turn the USA into a Christian Afghanistan, and I see them more and more often, and they are closer to achieving their goals every time. We were talking about abortion recently and how they were able to make the country regress, and that is scary as fuck, people.
No, we guess
I'm
what?
glad you mentioned.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly. I was just agreeing with you, Teo. Yeah, we scared too, but go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, well, I'm scared too. I'll get there. I was glad you mentioned Alan Moore's graphic novel, The Watchman, because it's the first thing that I thought of when I read this article. And it seems like, and I don't know if they're getting it from the graphic novel, this idea that they're the Watchmen, or from the scripture. There was a crypto-fascist group that tried to kidnap the governor of Michigan, and they called themselves the Wolverine Watchmen. So they were obviously using the Watchmen from the comics. But I don't know if they are going after that, or there's one character in the graphic novel that really thinks the same way as they do. His name is Rorschach, and he's obviously crazy. So correlation there. I don't know. But it seems like these guys are now using the word watchman just the same way that they use the word brotherhood or knight. We're the good guys. We're the good brotherhood, the good knights, the good watchmen who are going to fight against the encroachment of liberalism and socialism. And it's scary. You're absolutely right. And you look at this and you see this is a group of Christofacists, and they're laying out exactly what they want to do. And it is incredibly scary. It should be to everyone. These people are the greatest threat to American democracy today, and we really need to do something about it. Now, they've been working secretly since the days of Ronald Reagan, who opened the door for them, and they've just been moving a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And now they've got Roe v. Wade overturned. They are turning this country into a Christo-fascist state. And we don't have to move slow like that. We don't have to pretend like we're sneaking around. We just need to stand up to them and stop it. We can do as much as they did in a shorter period of time, because we don't need to sneak around and do it in quiet. There's also a lot of people who are on our side on this that are from the churches. There's a group called Christians Against Christian Nationalism, and a lot of churches belong to it. Episcopalians, some of the Baptist denominations, United Church of Christ, are all members of this group. It's a huge group of churches that are coming together to fight these churches right here. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't use them as an ally and stand up with them. Sure, I realize we want to see the end of religion completely, but right now we really want to see the end of these guys. And surely we could use all the help we can. And
yeah,
we can totally use those Christians to get rid of these Christians. We really need their help now. And the funny thing is, they probably think the same thing about us. Well, we can get rid of those atheists later, but we really need their help right now.
Well, let me tell you something, fellas. Guess what I found out? Hashtag atheism has been trending on Twitter for the last 6 days. Okay?
What does that mean?
It just means that there are more people who are lending their voice to non-belief in the dumpster fire that we call Twitter. But that, to me, shows that this group of non-believers is bigger than what we give credit for. And when you mention that particular organization, Christians Against Christian Nationalists, they actually work with the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
They partnered with them for the this January 6th report that they provided to Congress.
Sure did. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. So I am hopeful, because when we look at a lot of the decisions, not just Roe v. Wade being overturned, but there was a lot of different decisions that came down from SCOTUS that were absolutely awful. There are more people in the electorate that are against the decisions that SCOTUS has made that are of this Christian nationalist thought pattern. And even though I know that there are people who are elected in the Congress, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and people of that particular ilk. And yes, Christian nationalists are not just people who are loud and like to make, Nicene creeds. These are very much so organized people who have the influence of elected officials on the state and municipal level, and also on the federal level. But I agree with you, Kelley, to the point where it has to be a strong pushback of organizing to actually combat these particular decrees, this Project Blitz that's happening from the Christian nationalists. And this decree in of itself is just a edict of that agenda. That's all it is. I mean, like, one of the things that I believe that Hammett said is, while some of that is just a rehash of conservative talking points like wokeness and God-given freedoms, etc., there's no mistaking the idea that these people want total control of the government, or at least believe the government must adhere to biblical practices as interpreted by them and them alone. But the majority of the electorate do not think this way. And it has to get to the point where we are less of an apathetic electorate that's on the other side and actually participate in really pushing back against these ideals. And with that, let's go ahead and just get some final thoughts. Malty, I'm going to start with you, then Kelley, and then Teo.
Thanks, Cynthia. When I looked into the Victory Channel, I did see that it seems through time to be continually losing market share. They're not being able to spread their gospel as easily as as the avenues for them to be able to broadcast continues to shrink. So that scares me a little less.
I hear that, Kelley.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record and just tell everybody, get out there and do something. Every little bit helps. Put in a half hour a week of volunteer work. It doesn't take much, and a lot of half hours add up to a lot of many hours. So go out there and do it. I mean, just like I say, just 1.5 hour out of everybody, it equals a lot of work. And we need to stop these people. They really are a threat to our way of life.
Sorry, Kelley. So, as mentioned by the article, Kenneth Copeland, he is behind Watchman, this group who has declared war against the United States by saying, "We have been given legal power from heaven and now exercise our authority," and who has been quoted saying, "Who needs a government when you have the Watchman running the show?" Clearly wants his group to take over, and that is scary as fuck. People, don't let a guy like this win, please. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. Another reason why we need to push back against these people is because next thing you know, they're going to say, we declare that we should have as much money as possible to buy more private jets, because every last one of them people who was making Watchman Decree are private jet owners. Why the fuck do pastors need private jets? What? Seriously, why do you need this? Okay. Moving on.
He said because we're demons.
So you can move faster than the flying demons.
Okay. Well, take that, atheist. Well, before we go into our next segment, or our final segment for the afternoon, you can become a member of the channel for as little as 99 cents a month. So click the join button below the video. This will give you access to special chat emojis. And also, we have a brand new store. So visit tiny.cc/merchaca to get your favorite items like t-shirts, hoodies, and coffee mugs. You can check out our new items like beanies, phone cases, and tote bags. And all ACA shows feature a special limited edition item each month. So be sure to check out our store for NP merch and merch from all the other shows. All right. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get into our very last segment, which is a strange but true.
Strange but true.
All right. This is a hard one for me because I am not a cat fan, and I am totally agreeing with this article. But it appears that the Polish Academy of Sciences have classified cats as a harmful alien species in Poland. They biologist Wojciech Solars, and I'm hoping I didn't butcher his first name, said that all the criteria to include the cats among an alien invasive species within Poland are 100% met by the domestic house cat. I did some deep diving. I found a really cool research article. I noticed Malty found it too. I don't want to pull that away from him, but I will say that a lot cats have been instrumental in several species becoming extinct in the last few years. And my son mentioned to me, I thought this was kind of funny. We had these racial memories of gnomes and fairies, and hey, maybe they were real and the cats killed them off. Can you imagine a gnome against a house cat? It'd be like me up against a mountain lion. Or can you imagine mountain lions or house cats the size of mountain lions? I will bet you that everybody would be trading in their game consoles for a treadmill so they can get to the commuter train a lot faster. So I know we're kind of in a hurry, but I'm going to hand it off to Malty because I know he did a lot of good research onto this one because we both did the same.
I'm wondering which one that
article
he was looking at. Are you talking about the Nature publication or the Tropical Biomedicine? They're both pretty scary. But in relation to the cat, the Nature publication, this was January 2013, the impact of free-range domestic cats on wildlife in the United States. So they had an estimate that domestic cats killed 1.3 to 4 billion birds and 6.3 to 22 billion mammals annually. This is mostly unowned cats as opposed to owned pets that caused the most of this mortality. So all the feral cats out there are decimating the bird and rodent population. Excuse me while I go get some mosquito spray, because guess what? We have no more animals getting the mosquitoes.
Yep. Lizards, for example. This is old news, so I'm really surprised that you didn't know about that. I learned about the huge threat that cats are when I was reading about the kakaput in New Zealand. That is this big fluff that looks like a feather avocado. That's another name that it gets. And yeah, cats, they do destroy whole ecosystems. That's why they used to have them in boats, so they could eat the ecosystem, meaning the rats in the boat that could spoil the food of the sailors. And they are an alien species because, let's remember, alien means from another region, and they are aliens coming from Europe and destroying everything around here. And Kelley mentioned the mountain lions, and it's quite interesting. I checked the species that are being driven to extinction because of cats nowadays, and panthers in 2020 were among the creatures that cats are killing, not because they are killing them in fight, but because of an outbreak of feline leukemia virus. And in Florida, yeah, what the fuck, Florida? the whole panther population got in danger, and the disease was tracked to domestic cats that were, contaminating them. And yeah, besides that, as Monty said, small rodents, lizards, birds, all of them fall prey to cats because they are so powerful. Yes, predators, I think. Most successful predators in the world.
Now, guys, okay, so here's the thing. First off, this actually confirms everything that I felt about cats anyway, before I even was privy to any of this research, okay? I already felt that cats are aliens because I live with a cat, and that is an alien cat for real. You guys, she has to be an alien, because I can't even say that. Some people are like, do you own a cat? I'm like, no. I live with a cat. The cat who lives with me in my house. And I will say, at least she does her job. She keeps mice away. So kudos for that. But other than that, the attitude, everything, alien. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, I feel affirmed. But there is some pushback from cat owners that was saying that specifically the Polish scientists seemed like that he was advocating for the euthanization of the species, but that was not his intent. His intent was really to say that he thought that the recommendation should be just to limit cat owners' time that their pets actually spend outdoors. I know that let me rephrase that. The cat that I live with is an indoor cat. She is not allowed to go outside at all. Main reason being is because, hello, that we know that if she is known to actually do some damage to different species in the house that has invaded or what have you, she'll do it outside, and next thing you know, we have to deworm, deflea, everything, and ain't nobody got time to be sending that the cat I live with to the vet to do all that. I mean, like I said, we don't, one reason. I mean, like, I know the people in the house love her. At least that's what they tell me. But and sometimes she's cool when you pet her, but she's an alien, and now science has said so. And I feel affirmed. I just want to actually say that. But we're
just real quick, if I can.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So when I looked at this 2013 research paper or Nature Communication, they were referencing the Global Invasive Species Database at that point in time had cats, domestic cats, as number 28. Well, right now they're 28 out of over the top 100 species that are, invasive. So it's not that this is a new thing, except it's a new thing for the Polish scientific community for this. And just and we don't have time to get into Toxoplasma gondii, which is another whole kettle of fish that is related to cats. And as someone who is immunosuppressed, is something that I take very seriously.
As you should.
Wash your vegetables, people. And if you get that Australian lamb, cook it medium well.
Or just don't eat lamb. Anywho, let's go ahead and get some, because we're just going to go ahead and start to wrap up. So Teo and then Kelley, what are your final thoughts about the invasion of the cats? Because they are invasive.
Yeah, as usual, cats are not the ones to blame. They are just the most successful predators on the planet. The ones to blame are irresponsible humans. People, go and castrate your cats, please. You have spade. That's the term in English. Spade your cats.
Spade and neuter. Spade and neuter.
Neuter. Because if not, you're going to release a plague on nature, and you're going to be responsible of hundreds of millions of bird deaths and small mammals and reptiles. So yeah, people, get responsible.
Indeed. And Kelley?
Well, Teo just stole my last thought. Spay and neuter your cats and keep your pets indoors if you can. I mean, that's the key here. And I'm a huge bird lover, so please do that for me and my birds.
Indeed. Yes, keep your cats indoors, guys, and spade and neuter your pets, just like Bob Barker used to say at the end of every Price is Right. I think that the tradition has been carried on to the next host. So, finally, guys, if you enjoyed this conversation and you want to continue to have it, please join our fan social media outlets. You can actually find most of the nonprofit hosts on the Atheist Community of Discord by going to tiny.cc/ACD Discord and on Facebook at tiny.cc/FBNP. And if you would like to support the show, you can do so by becoming a patron at tiny.cc/PatreonNP. And if you find yourself already shopping at Amazon, support the Atheist Community of Austin by shopping at smile.amazon.com and selecting the Atheist Community of Austin as a beneficiary. Be sure to use the link to help out the ACA. We really do appreciate it. And we also value your feedback. So tell us what you like and what you don't like in the comments or at the email or in the comments below. Or you can email us at nonprofits@atheist-community.org. And speaking of emails, I believe we have a mailbag.
Viewer mail.
So I am so excited because I think that I have threatened the audience for the last couple of times that I was actually conducting to actually mail something, email us. So somebody actually finally listened. So can we go ahead and get that up on the screen, please? So hello from Oklahoma. This is Noel to the nonprofits. Saying after the Supreme Court dismissal of Roe v. Wade, my wife and I made up some shirts. Vasectomies prevent abortion to make a point that there are other actors in this issue. Surprisingly, we have received a lot of positive feedback, which has even given us the opportunity to have reasonable discussions with those who think differently. Now, that's a snip in the right direction. Thank you for all you do, Noel. And thank you, Noel, for your activism and also encouraging to snip in the right direction. Hey, I'm all for that. I couldn't help it. I couldn't
look
help
at
it.
what we've got scheduled for the monthly promotional T-shirt. I don't know. I'll have to talk to
Yeah,
Noel.
exactly. Yeah, we gotta talk to Noel. Noel, next time
yeah.
once you email us, once you send us a picture so that we can see that. Yeah, because we can probably maybe we can get in the rotation. I don't know. We'll talk to the powers that be about that. God, I don't know. Just kidding. Also, guys, make sure that you visit the Atheist Community of Austin's official website at atheist-community.org on the latest of what's been happening, and feel free to contact the ACA at tv@atheist-community.org. Guys, this has been like a great episode. I'm so happy to have these conversations with you all. I think that we did pretty good, wouldn't you say?
It went.
I do. I learned a lot today. I learned not to trust popes, bishops, televangelists, and cats. So
I think that's a proper final thought. We don't trust popes, we don't trust bishops, we don't trust cats or watchmen. Oh, and I did actually find that scripture. I think it comes from Hosea 9:8. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth and warn them from me. Well, we need to warn away from ye, watchmen, decree people. So if we guys do you all want to go ahead and just give some final thoughts? Malty, what you got?
Got to do more Twitter, sounds like.
Yeah, let's get that. Let's continue to get atheism trending on Twitter. And Kelley?
yeah, and send us more emails. We always want more feedback. We need more to read on the show. We need more emails for the show.
Do. Hello. I'm sad that I almost had to threaten the audience, but hey, sometimes you gotta yabba dabba do what you gotta yabba dabba do. And last but certainly not least, Teo.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me here. And guys, sadly, I won't be able to join you for a while, so you know how much I will miss being in here. I love you all, guys. I love everybody in here. Thank you for having me in here, and thank you the audience who enjoys listening to me. So I will miss you all, and thank you, but I will be back. I promise. I have to catch up with Cynthia.
I'm eagerly awaiting your return,
we still
Teo. I'm really sad to see you go.
We do.
Love you, people. We'll see you in 4 to 6 weeks, man.
Yeah, exactly. You guys, if you want to see Teo come back, all you got to do is just reach out with your thoughts and prayers. T's and P's, people. T's and P's. But we will miss you, Teo. But we know that you will be back in the. We can't get rid of the cutest cartoon on the internet. Come on, y'all. So. You'll be back. I really believe that you will be back. So, guys, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you all and having this particular conversation about prosperity, pastor, pimps, popes, watchmen decreeing against wokeness with alien cats.
I need a Fendi
That
bag.
is the name of the show. And then you need guys, if you could join the channel, make sure you continue to donate so that we can get all hosts of the Atheist Community of Austin Fendi bags. We obviously need that, right? Right? We do. We need Fendi bags, you know, Hermes, all that. We need those things. No, seriously. All the donations go to the ACA. We do not use that to buy Fendi bags. I just want to put that out there. It's a joke. It is a joke. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and sign off now. So everybody, thank you again for watching and tuning in. And we appreciate all the feedback and all the love that you has given us. If I had love rings to shout out to you all, we could do that. But instead, I will tell you, I wish you all health and long life, and live long and prosper.
Watch Talk Heathen live Sundays at 1 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTH and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect to the show online at tiny.cc/callth.